Picture this. Military forces, armed with machine guns, march into the wilds of Australia to face a dangerous enemy. Commanders issue orders. Strategy is discussed. Sweat beads on brows. A battle is about to begin. But the enemy isn't foreign invaders or rebels. It's a flock of giant, flightless birds, emus. Yes, emus. In 1932, the Australian government declared war, literally, on tens of thousands of emus that were ravaging crops and outwitting farmers. What happened next would sound too absurd for fiction. This is the incredible, forgotten story of the Great Emu War. The year is 1932. The world is gripped by the Great Depression. On the vast, sun-baked plains of Western Australia, things are especially grim. Farmers, many of them war veterans promised land by the government, struggle to survive. Wheat prices have collapsed. Fields once rich with crops are now battered by drought and economic hardship. Then, a new threat emerges, not from politicians or nature, but from the animal kingdom. Emus, large, strong, and famously fast, begin a mass migration from inland to the coastal areas during their regular breeding season. But this year, there are more than ever. Estimates peg the number at over 20,000. To struggling farmers, the birds are an unrelenting force of destruction. Emus trample fences, scatter livestock, and, worst of all, tear up entire fields of carefully planted wheat, devouring crops in their wake. Fences meant to protect farms are ruined, letting in rabbits and other pests. The government, desperately seeking solutions and restless after veterans' protests, agrees to a radical plan. Send in soldiers, with machine guns, to fix the emu problem. The stage is set for one of the weirdest wars in history. In November 1932, Major G.P.W. Meredith of the 7th Heavy Battery, Royal Australian Artillery, heads out to the fields of Western Australia with 2 soldiers, 2 Lewis machine guns, and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. Their mission: eradicate the emu menace. The campaign begins in the Campion district. Farmers gather, hoping for relief. But enemy intelligence fails the humans. The birds, naturally wary, scatter the first sign of trouble. The machine guns are bulky and difficult to position on the dusty terrain. On the first day, a small group of emus is spotted. The soldiers set up and fire. Some birds fall, but most dash away at remarkable speeds, up to 50 kilometers per hour. Their powerful legs help them outrun all but the fastest humans. The next day, a larger flock is spotted. The men wait, guns ready, then unleash a hail of bullets. But again, the majority slip away. The guns jam. The ground shakes beneath hundreds of pounding emu feet. In one attempt to increase their success, Meredith mounts a gun on a truck and tries chasing the birds. The plan looks promising, until the truck bounces wildly across rough ground. The gunner cannot aim. The birds zigzag and disappear into the brush. Days pass. The men press on. Birds continue to outmaneuver the soldiers. The local press catches wind, and soon the story is national news. Australia is at war with its own wildlife. Despite repeated efforts across multiple districts, victories are few and humiliations many. Of the thousands of rounds fired, only a fraction hit their targets. Witnesses describe chaotic chases, laughing farmers, and emus showing almost uncanny tactics, splitting into smaller groups, decoys leading humans astray, and the largest, toughest bird surviving multiple wounds. But something else emerges beneath the farcical spectacle: the pain and frustration of settlers whose livelihoods are destroyed, and a government desperate to look effective in the face of adversity. After weeks of campaigning, the results are clear. The emus have won. Machine guns have jammed. Ammunition is nearly depleted. Weather turns harsh, making further attacks impossible. Meredith's own report admits defeat. Approximately 1,000 emus are estimated killed, and thousands wounded. But more than 10,000 remain, unstoppable. One local wag jokes in the newspaper that the emus have proved invincible to bullets, and may be expected to maintain their ground for some time. The government is ridiculed. The press lampoons the military's defeat, and Major Meredith sums up the farce. If we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world. The war is over by December. Soldiers are recalled. Western Australia remains as overrun as ever. The fallout from the Great Emu War is quick and lasting. Farmers remain furious, their wheat ruined. The government is embarrassed, their intervention a public relations disaster. While the military campaign is abandoned, emus continue their rampage through Western Australia for years. In place of guns, new policies emerge. Bounties on emus, improved fencing, pest control. Some later efforts prove more effective, though emus remain a stubborn part of the landscape. The event becomes a favorite subject for journalists and satirists. Australian folklore absorbs the tale as proof of the unpredictability of life down under, a place where even the army might lose to giant birds. Decades later, historians and comedians alike revisit the war, seeing it as a parable about hubris, adaptation, and the limits of technology when faced with nature's strange challenges. Australia keeps the record, perhaps the only country to declare war and lose to birds. So, what does the Great Emu War teach us? It's tempting to laugh at soldiers chasing birds across dusty fields, machine guns blazing. But beneath the humor lies a real lesson. Sometimes, the greatest threats come not from grand armies or foreign foes, but from the natural world, indifferent to human plans. In Australia, the emus reminded everyone, farmers, generals, politicians, that nature isn't easily defeated by force. Balance, ingenuity, and respect go further than bullets. Today, emus still roam the outback. Farmers still debate strategies. And the legend of the Great Emu War lives on, a reminder to expect the unexpected and to never underestimate the opponents you're up against, even if they're covered in feathers. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this forgotten story of history, hit subscribe and join us for more remarkable tales from the past. What's your favorite impossible chapter? Drop it in the comments below.